of the regional government of Iraqi Kurdistan, pushing them back to inside Iraq. And this, the last posts and places siding with Turkish border today was liberated. The last step is to push them inside Iran. They are retreating now towards Iranian territory.
Can you give us some names of areas liberated?
Well, really, I haven't in my mind, but I can give you if you go back to the telegrams which you received from the front. But in Brados, this is the last step, last stage. Today or tomorrow, I think the operation will be finished, unless Iranian will interfere with their forces, because Iran brought 2 divisions, 67 infantry and commandos division of the Qarargah Hamza, the headquarters of Hamza. Hamza, you know, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad.
Are you expecting an Iranian intervention in the war, or do you think they brought up these divisions to prevent the PKK to...
No, not to prevent PKK. They are supporting PKK. They are providing PKK with arms, with ammunition, and even with some experts. And the PKK is going to Iran, retreating back to Iran. They send their women and their families to Iran since days, and they are sending their injured people to Iran, and Iran is helping them openly. It is not secret, it's very clear. And these forces came to persuade them to continue their fight against Iraqi Kurdistan's people and government.
Are Turkish planes continuing to bomb areas along the border?
Well, today there is no flight. We are not satisfied with Turkish planes' intervention in the area. We have asked the Turkish government to stop any kind of intervention by aircrafts or by all means. This is an internal affair of Iraqi Kurdistan. The regional government of Iraqi Kurdistan is capable, able to solve it. We are not in need to any kind of foreign intervention.
Are you satisfied totally with the conduct of the operations against PKK? I'm asking because I and many other foreign journalists say they've detected a measure of sympathy in the lower echelon levels of front leadership towards PKK. They say this is a fight between brothers.
This is not true. This is not true. This is in contrary. This is happening for the first time that the people are so much enthusiased and the Peshmerga. We asked 4,000 Peshmerga, 8,000 went, because PKK is very much hated by the people, by the Kurdish strugglers. But of course, if you ask me, am I glad? I am not glad. I'm not glad to have any fight with anyone. And as a person, my heart is dropping blood when I am hearing that a Kurd killed anywhere in the world. I don't like to see any Kurd killed or injured or damaged in the world. But when you are obliged to choose between two, one thing is bad and one thing is worse, you can avoid the worst to choose the bad, which is that this fighting was imposed on the government and parliament of Iraqi Kurdistan by the foolishness policy of PKK. We asked them since 3-4 months, and you remember through your newspapers, through your interviews with us, we appealed to them many times to leave the area, to leave the border by peaceful means, in a friendly way. And 2 months ago, we proposed to them, even through some Milad Wakili of Turkey, that please tell them to leave the border, the area, and we offer them to come to other places. We offer them, for example, I offer to them my headquarters in Nauzang and Zaleh. I told them that I will give you my headquarters at the time of revolution against Iraq, and please go there. I will give them my house. We have hospitals there and everything, but provided with one condition, not to use Iraqi Kurdistan's territory in military activities against Turkey. We offer to them to go back home if they want to continue their military presence. Now in Iraqi Kurdistan you can see all parties from all parts of Kurdistan, even from Turkish Republic. You will see some Kurds from Turkish Republic, they have their headquarters here. We are not preventing anyone, but we are preventing military activity. No one has the right to do it. And military activity, not only Iraqi, Turkish Kurds or Iranian Kurds, but Iraqi Kurds also prevented, according to the law, from having special arms and special military activities. Now all Peshmerga are going to be united in one single army, which is guided by the Ministry of Peshmerga. For that, there is no more place in Iraqi Kurdistan for different and various kind of militias. This is the decision of Kurdish Parliament, of government. And we are not glad to see some Kurds from Turkey coming to implement a planned road by Saddam Hussein in our soil. We were, of course, if PKK was accepted to leave peacefully the border, PKK was welcome to be in other part of Iraqi Kurdistan as a political body. But if they want to continue their military activities, please go back home to their country to do it. But look to PKK. All of you know, PKK is based in Iran, in Iraq, and in Syria. But in Syria and Iran, the governments denying their presence. And they are not going to be on the border as they are doing in Iraq. They are not going to bring journalists from Turkey and invite them to their camps, to picture them and to publish it in Turkish newspapers and tell the Turkish authorities, look, we are here on the border. It is a kind of provocation.
Aren't you worried, though, that now PKK will start focusing its attacks on you from Iran?
Well, they cannot do it. We are not, we are both government and popular movement.
But they've been doing it to the Turkish government.
Well, Turkey is government. If the people inside Turkey will support the Turkish government, they cannot do it. There is a gap between people and government. For that they are doing it. In Iraqi Kurdistan there is no gap between people and government. All villagers, all peasants are supporting the government, and when they are coming, they are first facing the Kurdish peasants, villagers, and then they are facing the arms of Iraqi Kurdistan's government. And I like to warn Iran. If Iran will continue to interfere in our affairs, if Iran will support PKK to use their territory, their land, against the regional government of Iraqi Kurdistan, it means that Iran is playing with fire. And when fire is burned on the border, it will not remain in one side of the border. The fire, if you go to have a fire, you will have it in both sides of the border. And it is in the interest of Iran not to interfere in our internal affairs. And let us hope that President Rafsanjani will not permit certain circles in Iran to continue their enmity against the Iraqi Kurdistan, because we can respond.
What's your reaction to the Turkish response to your declaration of a federation within Iraq?
I haven't the text of the Turkish announcement. We are looking for it. We are looking for it. But we explained for the Turkish government and for the world. And today I explained for the colonels from France, Turkey, and the United States of America that federation is unifying, not dividing. All over the world, look to the federation as a system which unified the countries. Federation united the United States of America. Federation united Germany. Federation Even after the collapse of Tsar regime, Federation united the remnant of Russia. But when the Federation ended, Russia was collapsed and dismantled. Soviet Union was dismantled, and Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia was dismantled because the Federation was not respected. Federation in the world is a modern kind of administration. You have in the United States of America kind of federation. In India, you have it. You have many states in India, each has prime minister, parliament, and sometimes different parties. In Kerala, for a long time, communists ruled Kerala against the central government. It's something democratic administration. We are for democracy, and I'd like to add something more about federation. We got permission from all Iraqi opposition forces that they are supporting the right to self-determination of the Kurdish people within the framework of united Iraq. Well, who will use the right of self-determination of the Kurdish people? The Kurdish parliament, because Kurdish parliament is the representative of Kurdish people, and they use this right, which is in a general term, in a definite term, which is federation. And I remember that a very well-known Iraqi professor participated in Vienna conference. His name is Dr. Hassan Chalabi. When he was asked to explain what this resolution means, right of self-determination, he said in one word, federation. That is why all Iraqi opposition decided. It is not only the Kurds who decided this.
Mr. Talabani, once the PKK forces withdraw from this region, how do you intend to prevent them from coming back again? Are you going to station a permanent Peshmerga force along the Turkish border to prevent their re-infiltration?
By two means. First, we will permit peasants and villagers to go back to their village, to rebuild their village, and we will arm them to defend their village. Because one of the main obstacles PKK created was, PKK was preventing Kurdish villagers from more than 300 villages from going back home to rebuild it. You know, after the destruction of Iraqi Kurdistan's countryside, the Kurdish people, when the Kurdistan was liberated, tried to go back home to rebuild their village because this is the main source for our life. PKK prevented more than 300 villages to be rebuilt. Now the people will go back to their village and rebuild their village and stay there. And second, we will have the government of Kurdistan has the responsibility of guarding securing the borders with Iran, with Turkey, and with Syria. This will be done by the police forces, by Peshmerga forces, belongs to the governments. And I'd like to tell you, no more Peshmerga is belonging to KDP or PUK. It's now decided to be a part of the government forces. Peshmerga are now united, and they will be mixed together within these regular units under the guidance of Minister of Peshmerga.
Can you, sir, give us a rough idea about casualties? Because PKK has been issuing statements that they have been inflicting heavy losses on the Peshmerga forces. Many Peshmerga have come over their side.
You know, these lies of the PKK is not new. The PKK leadership is the biggest liar in the history of the Kurdish people. You can go to the fronts, you can see, in contrary, tens of Peshmerga of PKK came to our side, and yet no one in our side went to their side. And we will show you later this Peshmerga who came to our side. And the casualties is small because thanks to our tactics, really, we didn't use our old tactics to encircle and annihilate, but we used the tactics of push them back, not to encircle them and annihilate them, but to push them back, to help them to escape. For that, the casualties are very few.
How many, for instance?
Altogether, in our side, there are about 14 or 13 or 14.
14 Peshmerga.
Peshmerga.
How many PKK?
I haven't the accurate number, but I don't think it's too much. Also, in their sides, it's not too much.
Like 50, 100?
No, 100 is too much. I don't think so.
Less than?
Less.
Are any fleeing towards Turkey?
I don't know.
You said we can go and see for ourselves. We've been trying to do that for 3 days now, and we haven't been able to. Can you help us, all of us, to go somewhere near the front?
Yes.
As soon as possible.
Yes,
Can you help arrange that for us?
we can try to arrange it tomorrow for you to send you near the front.
Early morning.
I don't promise early morning because it's not so easy for you. You must have cars, guards, preparations. It's at 4 o'clock. It's not so easy. I must contact these people, but I promise we will do our best to send you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Early afternoon, perhaps we will do it for you because it needs preparation. It's not so easy. You haven't your cars, you haven't anything. We must prepare for you car, benzene, which is very expensive now, you know, which is very rare also. Not only expensive to get it is very difficult.
How long? You say it's going to be finished by tomorrow?
Within days, you know, we estimated in the beginning of the Mr. Barzani and myself, we estimated 7 days or from 1 week to 2 weeks to end the presence of PKK in Iraqi Kurdistan. Although they occupied a very large part of Iraqi Kurdistan, which was not only for stationing there. You know, the policy of PKK is to neglect and abuse the Kurdish parliament and Kurdish government. They consider these two bodies as puppets of imperialism and like this. PKK is cooperating with Saddam Hussein, with Iranians to disrupt and to end this Kurdish parliament and Kurdish government. For that, they are not recognizing this, and they were going to enlarge the area which they were controlling. Instead of being in limited places, they occupied a large part, 300 villages. 300, I think altogether, 318 villages.
But if they're being, this might be a stupid question, but if they are being supported by Saddam, why aren't they escaping towards
Some of them escaped.
Iraq?
Yes, because there is no way how to go to Iraq. From border to go to Iraq, they must pass through Shaqlaba to Arbil. How they go? In Badina, we captured 13 armed men of PKK trying to go to the Iraqi army. They are now in Badina. We can show you if you go there. 13 were trying to go to penetrate our front to go to Iraq.
Can we see them?
But you can see them. So, yes, of course. But you know, it is very far from PKK to go to. It's 300 kilometers.
Maybe it's a
No.
stupid question. It was a stupid question.
Not stupid, but not very reasonable.
So it's definitely going to be over by the meeting of the Iraqi
with a big if. If Iran will not interfere, if Iran will do, it means that there will be prolonged war between us and Iran then, not between us and.
Will Turkey intervene at that stage?
It's up to Turkey to decide. I'm not the representative of Turkish government. You can go to ask Mr. Chatin. He's the foreign minister of Turkey.
So you consider it as a serious possibility, Iranian intervention?
Very serious. Very serious.
That will entail Iranian invasion of Iraqi Kurdistan.
It will be, if it will happen, it will be a kind of aggression, kind of invasion of liberated Kurdistan by Iranians. But there is big if, please don't forget this big if.
I write it in capital letters.
Yes, please. If
they continue,
who will continue?
Iranian.
Yes, if they continue and came inside too much. Now they are openly supporting the PKK. It's not open, it's very clear. Everyone is aware, everyone who knows the realities there. Perhaps we will give you some evidence, I hope so, in near future.
Does the regional government enjoy Western support in its confrontation with
Ask
PKK?
the Prime Minister and others. I'm not the representative.
Do you foresee new economic developments because PKK announced another blockade?
Yes, it's up to Turkish authorities to control their roads and their roads. I think the Turkish government is able to control the road and to open it because there is no presence of PKK, only PKK frightening the people. I like to tell you, if you go back to the Kurdish parties of Turkey, you will see all of them suffering from PKK because PKK is using terrorism against Kurds, not against Turkish government. PKK assassinating members of other parties, frightening everyone that no one has the right to work in Iran, in your part, Dogo and south or east and Kurdish parts of Turkey. He is preventing all other parties from working. He is even interfering in the internal affairs of PUK and other parties and trying to prevent all other activities. And for that, all other Kurdish parties are satisfied with the end of the PKK's presence in Iraqi Kurdistan. This is one. Second, PKK is antagonizing all Kurdish parties all over the world. He is cooperating with intelligence service of Syria against all Kurdish parties in Syria. He is cooperating with intelligence services of Iran against all parties of Iran. He is cooperating with intelligence service of Iraq against all parties of Iraqi Kurdistan. He has no one single party allied with him all over Kurdistan. He is against all of them. And PKK has an article in his program to annihilate all Kurdish parties, which is worst kind of dictatorship to have one single party and be against all other parties.
If Iran does get involved, how can you retaliate? How can you...
We will resist, we will never surrender, you know.
Won't that cause big problems for you? I mean,
Of course,
it's hardly the best
of course,
time for
of
you to
course,
be in a war.
of course, it will be very difficult for us, but we will never surrender to Iranians. If they try to invade our country, we will resist.
If Iranians do not attack, are you going to make one last lunge forward to oust the PKK out of the area? I mean, is there a new general offensive planned on all the fronts against PKK, or is it?
We will.
Had the front already dissolved and they are
You know,
running away?
the Kurdish regional government determined to clean the borders from all foreign non-Iraqi Kurds parties and opposition forces. It's not only for PKK, for all other Kurdish parties. They can stay inside Iraqi Kurdistan, but not on the borders. The borders will be controlled by government. But we have now Kurdish parties from Turkey, we have Kurdish parties from Syria, we have Kurdish parties from Iran. All of them here, they have their headquarters, they have their bureaus, their offices, and they are welcomed. No one is against them. If they want to continue their armed struggle, we will ask them one question. Where you want to struggle? In Iraq, we have liberated. Against Iraq, this is the front. We are not permitting them to go because we are prevented by allied forces to burn the war with Iraq. If they want to fight against their government, let them go back home and fight there. We are not against them. We will never send Peshmerga to inside Turkey or inside Iran to fight against PKK or KDP of Iran or any Kurdish parties which is going to fight there. It's up to them. Although we are not agreed, we think that this time, this era, this epoch is the epoch of political and peaceful solution of the problems. From Cambodia to the Sahara, all problems are going to be solved in a peaceful way. If they want to continue their armed struggle, it's up to them. Please go back home and do what you want to do. But we cannot tolerate the Turkish army, Iranian army, Iraqi army, Syrian army in one time. We cannot. And Kurdistan, it's true, was one day country was divided. And each part of Kurdistan has its own problems. We cannot say to the Iranian Kurds, you must do so and so. We are not asking the Turkish Kurds to do so and so. We are not asking the Syrian Kurds to do, and we are not also accepting them to order us to do so and so. It's our own problem. If they want, they are free to go. Look to the Arab countries, they are divided. Syria has its own policy, Jordan has its own policy. This is not because they are Kurds, it means that they can come to Kurdistan and occupy our country and do with Saddam Hussein an alliance against us. It's a kind of treachery. I think the worst kind of treachery is the worst kind of treachery in the history of the Kurdish people, committed by PKK leadership when he is sided with Saddam Hussein, cooperated with Iran against Kurdish parliament, against Kurdish regional government. Instead of helping us to be successful in our attempt to rebuild a new federative democratic Kurdistan, they are now cooperating with the enemy of the Kurdish people, with fascist Ba'athists of Baghdad, with Iranians to destroy this democratic experience in Iraqi Kurdistan, and this is the worst kind of treachery in the Kurdish history, from the beginning of the history till now.
Is there any Turkish officer among the Peshmergas fighting on the mountain?
There is no one Turkish bullet in the fighting. There is no one Turkish bullet in the ground against PKK. There is no Turkish officers fighting. There is no Turkish, even we are not satisfied, I am telling you openly, we are against using Turkish aircrafts, and we protested to Turkey about using aircrafts in the battles. We are not for it. We want Turkey far from the battles. It's our own affairs, our internal affairs. We will solve it without any kind of Turkish interference. We are not for it at all. We don't want Turkish forces intervening in ground or in sky.
Don't you work sometimes with meat?
No, I haven't seen personally any meat. I have seen Prime Minister, President Uzal, of deputies, but I haven't seen. I don't know if you are meats. I don't know. Journalists. Yes. If journalists coming from me, otherwise I haven't seen any meat. Believe me, and you can tell in my name that perhaps meat doesn't want to see us. But I have seen many Turks. I don't know if they are meat or they are. You know, we are dealing with Turkey. Look how we are dealing with Turkey and Iran and Syria, and how PKK is dealing. We are dealing openly. Going to see Prime Minister of Turkey, going to see President of Iran. Please listen to me. Going to see President of Iran, Foreign Minister of Iran, openly telling the newspapers what we are doing, what we have done, what we have asked, and what they have asked. PKK is doing it secretly. Covert action. With Turkey, I don't know, but with Iran, it's very clear. With Iraq, very clear. With Syria, very clear. For what reason this covert action? Why not Abdullah Öcalan is so brave to say that we have relation with Iran and based on this and that. We have relation. I have relation with Syria. I am proud to be a friend of President Hafez Assad, and since 20 years, and I didn't cover it any day from anyone.
Hafez will cut his head off if he does that.
No, that is not true at all. Hafez Assad is not cutting the heads of anyone.
Since when you have this kind of relation with Turkish government?
since I came to this international socialism.
Is that means after you started your fight in northern Iraq nearly 30 years?
Yes.
But PKK has been started maybe 5 years
Well,
ago?
it doesn't need to repeat all 13 years.
So you lived the same situations?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you were considered to be a terrorist once upon a time for Turkish government.
Yes, but I'm not listening to the Turkish estimation. I'm listening to the facts. Never one in the world could accuse Iraqi Kurds to be terrorists because we didn't commit any terrorist actions. Look, PKK sometimes committing war crimes. Like, for example, to kill a prisoner of war is a war crime. You have no right in any war to kill prisoners. They are killing a soldier, coming from city to other state, bringing him down from the bus and killing him. This is a war crime. This is against all Kurdish traditions. Here in this Kurdistan, perhaps some friends saw, Mr. Rashid included, we had generals, tens of generals, hundreds of Iraqi officers, thousands of Iraqi officers. Some of them committed war crimes against Kurdish people. All of them were released and they went back. This is the rule of the war. Not to go to commit such a crime. He's committing some other crimes, killing some Turkish civilians. Why? To burn animosity between Kurdish people and Turkish people? To help chauvinist circles of Turkey to be against Kurdish people? This is what PKK is doing. PKK is serving the enemy of the Kurdish people. At all, in Europe, you know, the worst kind of things now in the world is terrorism. There is no force now in Europe accused to be terrorists except PKK. Even Palestinians ended their terrorism and they're now cooperating. Only force in the world now accused to be terrorists, which is very bad description in the world, in the eyes of the people, is a Kurdish one, PKK, which is the main Kurdish cause on the world. They are killing people, some people, I like to tell you one thing. When I came back after this revolt of Iraq Kurdistan uprising, I met Abdullah Jalal and he sent with me one of his member of political bureau to Iraqi Kurdistan. Then he killed him, Mohammed Shanar. He was his representative with me. I brought him to Iraqi Kurdistan. And he praised him too much. When he presented to me, he said he's a hero, he was in Diyarbakir prison, he was so and so, he was... Then when he came and he has some kind of differences with him, he killed him, which is the worst kind of dictatorship in the world, to kill a man because he is separated from your party. If Turkey, for example, if Professor Inano will assassinate Deniz Baykal because he is split from his party, what you will tell Inano? How you will describe Inano? This is what Abdullah Jalal is doing, my dear friend.
Didn't you have in your time this kind of things?
At all. At all. Look to the...
Between PUK and PDK?
No, fighting.
You never fight?
You know, fighting. We had. Fighting is something and killing some people because he is resigning from your party. We have now, all of us, we were from one party. You are legitimizing the PKK crimes, I'd like to ask you. Are you legitimizing the PKK crimes?
No.
What? But you are doing, you are defending. The PKK killing Mohammed Shanar, you saying it is good.
No, I didn't say
yes, you are
I'm
saying.
against all the verdicts.
No, you are defending.
I just like to give an example
No,
because once upon a time you were maybe not in the same position, but you had the same.
No, at all. Not
at national fight.
No, at all. Not at all. It is that we have fighting each other. We are killing each other in the fighting, but not killing a member of Central Committee because he is resigning from this party to go to other party. Never happened in Iraqi Kurdistan. And we look to go to Iraqi army, and that's hundreds of Iraqi officers, tens of thousands of Iraqi soldiers were captured, and all of them were released. But PKK killing civilians, killing an engineer, a Turkish engineer working in Kurdistan, a teacher, that is crime. And it is against the interest of the Kurdish people. It is giving, it is deforming the image of the Kurdish people. We Kurds, we are proud with Salah ad-Din. Do you know Salah ad-Din, what Salah ad-Din was doing in the history? Going to send doctors for the injured people of his enemy. Not to kill them. This is crimes. And by the way, from the beginning of our relation with PKK, we had two conditions. I can tell you this gentleman was in Yaksabar. I told him our relation with PKK. Two conditions. First, to end terrorist actions. Second, to end fighting other Kurdish parties. This was our two conditions to PKK from the beginning. Because PKK started, and many Kurds, by the way, including some parties of Turkey, considering Abdullah Öcalan created by some agents of Kurdish people, of enemy, by some intelligence service to fight the Kurdish parties. And he's doing the same now. Even his wife escaped from him, even his wife. A man is not able to live with his wife. Can he lead a people? Can he lead a revolution? This is other things, you know, many other things you can count it. Well, this is, he had a list of assassinating all Kurdish leaders of Turkey. Kemal Burqa included, Khajo Yashar included, Ibo included, many others. Why? In Iraqi Kurdistan, go, you will see many parties. Some parties, we have a group called Roti Communist, for example. Communist trend, huh? Roti Communist trend ترجمة ذكرين. Trend, ده ولا communist trend. Communist trend. They are against all of us. Describing Mr. Barzani and myself that they are bourgeois, anti-people, not popular. They are going to establish a new bourgeois dictatorship. Well, they are free. I mean, yesterday, one of them came to me and said, well, please help us to give us some arms to defend ourselves. I said, okay. Because we cannot fight here with gun. You can fight here with reasonable reasons. But PKK doing it. Anyone is from out this party. Many people killed in Sweden, in Germany, in Holland, because they split it from the party, which is a kind of fascism. How we can tolerate a fascist party? I think it's, well, look to his leaderships. How they changed it. From 17 members of the leadership of PKK, now 4 remain. 13 members are either killed or escaped or resigned from the party. This is a kind of dangerous action of PKK. Well, what else after PKK? You have Federation and PKK, these two things, huh?
I was sent only for
Federation
to cover this fight.
Yes.
This time.
Yes. Well, I like to finalize my words. We are not satisfied, we are not pleased, we are not glad to have this fight. This fight imposed on us.
But it's definitely going to be over.
Of course,
by
definitely
the next meeting.
going to be over, and we will hope that there will be no repeat for it, and there will be, all problems will be solved in a democratic way. And even if PKK want to stay in Iraqi Kurdistan as a political body, he is welcome. And he can say his words in his newspaper, in his radio. We will reply him with words. But when PKK using bullets, we will use it. When PKK will use Kalashnikovs, we have more Kalashnikovs, and we will use it.